Spectroscopy is a technique which deals with interaction of radiation with matter. In it, the characteristics of a molecule to absorb and emit specific radiations or light is exploited to get information about the type and concentration of the molecule. Ultraviolet visible spectroscopy or UV visible spectrophotometry refers to absorption spectroscopy or reflectance spectroscopy in the ultraviolet visible spectral region. This means it uses light in the visible region, that is 400 to 700 nanometers, and adjacent near UV, that is 200 to 400 nanometers, and near infrared, that is 700 to 800 nanometers ranges. In this region of the electromagnetic spectrum, molecules undergo electronic transitions. UV spectroscopy is a type of absorption spectroscopy in which light of ultraviolet region is absorbed by the molecules, while in visible spectroscopy, visible region of light is absorbed by the molecules. Absorption of the ultraviolet or visible radiations results in the excitation of the electrons from the ground state to higher energy state. The energy of the radiation that is absorbed is equal to the energy difference between the ground state and higher energy states. The processes concerned in spectroscopy are absorption and transmission. When light falls on a sample, the light will either be absorbed by the sample or may be reflected or scattered. Usually the conditions under which the sample is examined are chosen to keep reflection and scattering to a minimum. Ultraviolet and visible spectrometry is almost entirely used for quantitative analysis, that is, the estimation of the amount of a compound present in the sample. The sample is usually examined in solution form. Molecules containing pi electrons or non-bonding electrons, that is n electrons, can absorb the energy in the form of UV or visible light to excite these electrons to higher antibonding molecular orbitals. Generally, the most favored transition is from the highest occupied molecular orbital, that is HOMO, to lowest unoccupied molecular orbital, that is LUMO. More easily an electron is excited, that is, lower energy gap between HOMO and the LUMO, longer is the wavelength of light it can absorb. For most of the molecules, the lowest energy occupied by molecular orbitals are orbitals which correspond to sigma bonds. The p orbitals are at somewhat higher energy levels, while the non-bonding orbitals with unshared pair of electrons lie at higher energy levels. The unoccupied or antibonding orbitals, that is pi or sigma orbitals, are the highest energy occupied orbitals. In most of the compounds, the electrons undergo various transitions. Some of the important transitions with increasing energies are from non-bonding to pi, from non-bonding to sigma, pi to pi, sigma to pi, and sigma to sigma transitions. The instrument used in ultraviolet visible spectroscopy is called a UV visible spectrophotometer. It measures the intensity of light passing through a sample and compares it to the intensity of light before it passes through the sample. The ratio I by I0 is called the transmittance and is usually expressed as a percentage, that is percentage transmittance. The absorbance A is based on the transmittance by the equation The UV visible spectrophotometer can also be configured to measure reflectance. In this case, the spectrophotometer measures the intensity of light reflected from a sample and compares it to the intensity of light reflected from a reference material such as white tile. The ratio I by I0 is called the reflectance and is usually expressed as a percentage, that is percentage reflectance. The basic parts of a spectrophotometer are a light source, a sample holder, a monochromator and a detector. Light source. The radiation source or the light source is often a tungsten filament, a deuterium arc lamp which is continuous over the UV region, or a xenon arc lamp which is continuous from 160 to 2000 nanometers, or more recently light emitting diodes, that is LEDs, for the visible wavelengths. Sample holder or cuvettes. The most widely applicable cuvettes are made up of high quality fused silica or quartz glass because these are transparent throughout the UV, visible and near infrared regions. Glass and plastic cuvettes are also common, although glass and most plastics absorb in the UV region, which limits their usefulness to visible wavelengths. The selection of a proper cuvette material is based on the absorption property of that material. For example, as can be seen in the graph, glass and plastic absorb UV light and not visible radiation. So, they are not suitable while working with UV radiations, but only suitable for visible region. On the other hand, silica and quartz do not absorb UV and visible light and hence can be used while working with UV as well as visible radiations. Samples are typically placed in a transparent cell known as cuvette. Cuvettes are typically rectangular in shape, commonly with an internal width of 1 centimeter. This width becomes the path length in Beer-Lambert law. Test tubes can also be used as cuvettes in some instruments. The type of sample container used must allow radiation to pass over the spectral region of interest. Thus, we have studied the components of a spectrophotometer and the applications of spectrophotometer in biological samples. Monochromator. A monochromator is an optical device that transmits a mechanically selectable narrow band of wavelengths of light or other radiation chosen from a wider range of wavelengths available at the input. The name is derived from the Greek roots mono, that is single, and chroma, that is color, and the Latin suffix ater denoting an agent. Thus, a monochromator converts polychromatic light into monochromatic light. The options available for monochromator are glass filters, prism and diffraction gratings. A monochromator can use either the phenomenon of optical dispersion in a prism or that of diffraction using a diffraction grating. It separates the colors of light spatially. It usually has a mechanism for directing the selected color to an exit slit. Advantages of prisms as monochromators. Prisms are highly efficient over the complete visible range from about 400 to 1000 nanometers. Transmission of light is almost around 100% in prism. Disadvantages of prisms as monochromators. Dispersion is not uniform throughout the wavelength spectrum and increases towards shorter wavelengths. In most instruments, 2 to 3 prisms are necessary in series to achieve the desired dispersion. Glass strongly absorbs in UV region, so fused silica or quartz prisms are necessary in UV range. Light losses occur at both entrance and exit interfaces of the prism. Diffraction gratings consist of a surface bearing closely spaced grooves etched on it. The separation between the lines is of the order of magnitude of wavelengths of incident light falling upon it. It splits and deflects the incident wavelengths in different directions. Gratings are considered as better monochromators as they disperse all wavelengths equally. Detectors. The detector is typically a photomultiplier tube, that is PMT, or a photodiode array, or a charged coupled device, that is CCD. A photomultiplier tube is a type of vacuum phototube which is useful for light detection of very weak signals and is a photoemissive device in which the absorption of a photon results in the emission of an electron. These detectors work by amplifying the electrons generated by a photocathode exposed to a photon flux. Several diodes are used in PMT. A diode is an electrode in a vacuum tube that serves as an electron multiplier through secondary emission. It results in large amplification of a weak signal. A photodiode is a semiconductor device that converts light into current. Usually, the photosensitive material used in them is silicon. These are small in size and work very fast. Amplifier. The alternating current generated in the photocells is transferred to the amplifier. The amplifier is coupled to a small servometer. Generally, the current generated in the photocells is of very low intensity, and the main purpose of amplifier is to amplify the signals many times, so we get clear and recordable signals. Recording devices. Most of the times, amplifier is coupled to a pen recorder which is connected to the computer. Computer stores all the data generated and produces the spectrum of the desired compound. First, to measure absorption spectrum. A material's absorption spectrum is the fraction of incident radiation absorbed by the material over a range of frequencies. The absorption spectrum is primarily determined by the atomic and molecular composition of the material. Second, to measure transmission spectrum. Absorption and transmission spectra represent equivalent information, and one can be calculated from the other through a mathematical transformation. A transmission spectrum will have its maximum intensities at wavelengths where the absorption is weakest because more light is transmitted through the sample. An absorption spectrum will have its maximum intensities at wavelengths where the absorption is the strongest. Third, for qualitative and quantitative estimations. Concentration of an analyte in a solution can be measured by using a UV visible spectrophotometer. UV visible spectroscopy obeys Beer-Lambert law, which states that when a beam of monochromatic light is passed through a solution of an absorbing substance, the rate of decrease of intensity of radiation with thickness of the absorbing solution is proportional to the incident radiation as well as the concentration of the solution. The expression of the Beer-Lambert law is as where A is the absorbance, I0 is the intensity of incident radiation, I is the intensity of light leaving the sample, C is the molar concentration of solute, L is the length of the sample cell, and E is the molar absorptivity or molar extinction coefficient. From the Beer-Lambert law, it is clear that greater the number of molecules capable of absorbing light of a given wavelength, the greater the extent of light absorption is. This is the basic principle of UV spectroscopy. The molar extinction coefficient, also called as molar absorptivity, defines how strongly a substance absorbs light at a given wavelength per molar concentration. The Beer-Lambert law states that the absorbance of a solution is directly proportional to the concentration of the absorbing species in the solution and the path length. Thus, for a fixed path length, UV visible spectroscopy can be used to determine the concentration of the absorber in a solution. It is necessary to know how quickly the absorbance changes with concentration. This can be taken from references, that is tables of molar extinction coefficients, or more accurately determined from a calibration curve. The Beer-Lambert law is useful for characterizing many compounds, but does not hold as a universal relationship for the concentration and absorption of all substances. UV visible spectroscopy is routinely used in analytical chemistry for the quantitative determination of different analytes such as transition metal ions, highly conjugated organic compounds, and biological macromolecules. Spectroscopic analysis is commonly carried out in solutions, but solids and gases may also be studied. A UV visible spectrophotometer may be used as a detector for HPLC. The presence of an analyte gives a response assumed to be proportional to the concentration. For accurate results, the instrument's response to the analyte in the unknown should be compared with the response to a standard. This is very similar to the use of calibration curves. Absorption spectrum of a molecule is influenced by the nature of the solvent, the pH of the solution, temperature, high electrolyte concentrations, and the presence of interfering substances. Experimental variations such as the slit width of the spectrophotometer will also alter the spectrum. To apply UV visible spectroscopy to analysis, these variables must be controlled or accounted for in order to identify the substances present. The Beer-Lambert law has implicit assumptions that must be met experimentally for it to apply, otherwise there is a possibility of deviations from the law to be observed. For instance, the chemical makeup and physical environment of the sample can alter its extinction coefficient. The chemical and physical conditions of a test sample, therefore, must match reference measurements for conclusions to be valid. Spectral bandwidth. Monochromaticity of light incident on the sample cell is the width of the triangle at 1/2 of the peak intensity. A given spectrometer has a spectral bandwidth that characterizes how monochromatic the light is. It is important to have monochromatic source of radiation for analysis of the sample. If this bandwidth is comparable to the width of the absorption features, then the measured extinction coefficient will be altered. In most reference measurements, the instrument bandwidth is kept below the width of the spectral lines. Reducing the spectral bandwidth will reduce the energy passed to the detector and will therefore require a longer measurement time to achieve the same signal to noise ratio. Stray light. Another important factor is purity of the light used. The most important factor affecting this is the stray light level of the monochromator. The detector used is broadband, that is, it responds to all the light that reaches it. If a significant amount of the light passed through the sample contains wavelengths that have much lower extinction coefficients than the nominal one, the instrument will report an incorrectly low absorbance. Any instrument will reach a point where an increase in the sample concentration will not result in an increase in the reported absorbance, because the detector is simply responding to the stray light. Deviations from the Beer-Lambert law. At sufficiently high concentrations, the absorption bands will saturate and show absorption flattening. The absorption peak appears to flatten because close to 100% of the light is already being absorbed. Light becomes a limiting factor here, and wrong information about the concentration of the sample may be achieved. Solutions that are not homogeneous can show deviation from Beer-Lambert law because of the phenomenon of absorption flattening. This can happen, for instance, where the absorbing substance is located within suspended particles. Suspended particles may also scatter incident radiation. That is the reason that the solution to be used should be optically clear and homogeneous. A spectrophotometer can be either single beam or double beam. In a single beam instrument, all the light passes through the sample cell. Every measurement must be measured by removing the earlier sample. This was the earliest design and still in common use in both teaching and industrial labs. In a double beam instrument, the light is split into two beams before it reaches the sample. One beam is used as the reference and the other beam passes through the sample. The reference beam intensity is taken as 100% transmission or 0 absorbance, and the measurement displayed is the ratio of the two beam intensities. Thus, in this module, we have studied the components and applications of a spectrophotometer. We have also described the Beer-Lambert law and its limitations.